This is my ship's barometer, and it's a Chelsea, so they're pretty good quality. They have real expensive clocks and barometers, and then they also have more reasonably priced. I think this is probably a more reasonably anyway, I think this is one of the less expensive ones. So this came with the boat when I bought it, and it never really worked very well. The needle hardly moves at all. I mean, it moves like an eighth or a quarter of an inch if it's going to rain to one side, and about an eighth or a quarter of an inch to the other side if it's not going to rain. And so I'm going to open this up and see if I can figure out what's going on with it. And I also have a Weems and Plath barometer. It's pretty cheap, and I'll show that to you now. It has the same exact problem, so I don't get it. It's really weird. I got two barometers and they're doing the same thing. And I just did a video on my ship's clock, and I have two clocks. I also have a Chelsea clock, and it has a C-size battery, which is really very hard to find. I mean, you can get AA batteries, AAA batteries, D-size batteries anywhere, but go try to find a C-size battery. You can't find them anywhere. And the C-size battery, I put one in when I first bought this boat in the clock, and it didn't last very long. And a battery that big in a quartz clock should last years. And the only thing I could figure was the C-size battery that I bought at the store had been sitting on the shelf for probably like 10 or 15 years when I bought it. So that's the only thing I can figure. So I'm going to open this up and see what's going on with it. And this is my Weems and Plath barometer. And I bought this for my other boat that I had, and I also had the clock that went with it. And my last video, I did a video on the clock, and so it didn't turn out too good. But they're really cool because the face plate glows in the dark, and it's really cool. But so at any rate, this has the exact same problem as this one. So it same thing. The needle hardly moves at all. So this one here, I don't even know how to take it apart. There's probably a way, but this one comes apart. So we'll go ahead and look at this one here. The needle's moving when I bump it. So if I wiggle it, you can see the needle move, I think. And that's a good sign. So it's not locked up. And I just need to figure out why it's not moving that far. So this just unscrews the face cover here. Unscrews. And hopefully the whole thing should just drop out. Okay. It's a little bit of dust right there. Okay, so I got 3 screws that I have to remove, and then I can take this out. Okay, so this is like a retaining ring here that holds it in. Just sit over here. Try not to lose the screws out of it. Okay, now this should just kind of spill out of here. Yep. There's an adjustment screw for calibrating it. So what you do when you calibrate it is you find out what the barometric pressure is in your area. Whoa. Okay, I gotta be real careful here. Take this faceplate off. And what you do is there's a screw back here, and it'll adjust the needle to your local barometric pressure that you have. So you can find that on your phone or your computer or weather radio. If you have a weather radio, just find the local barometric pressure at the time and then set this needle at the same setting, and that's how you calibrate it. This is so it has like a little billows, how it works, and I should be able to press down on this billows and make it move. So it's just like an airtight chamber. Let's see if it, yeah. So I'm pressing on it with my finger. I don't know if you can see the needle moving, but that's the billows. Now I don't understand why it's not moving very far. So I was wondering if there's something I could do to adjust that. I think this little bar was kind of seized up, and that's why it wasn't moving. And it may need to be oiled. And the only problem is I don't have the kind of oil that I need to put on here. I need something like sewing machine oil would probably be the best thing to use. WD-40, I don't know. I have some, but I don't know if I want to put it on here. I guess I could put a little bit on. That might clean it a little bit. That might make the difference. This must have been what the problem was. I'm trying to think. I don't have any other kind of oil. Yeah, I hate to use WD-40. And I can see, oh, you know what? It has, I can see it. It looks to me like it has little zerts for oil that you put on there. So you oil that. You know what? I think I'll try just a very small amount of WD-40 on it just to see if it makes a difference. And I can clean the WD-40 out later and replace it with better oil. So I'm gonna give that a try and see what happens. Yeah, I really need like sewing machine oil. I need some real thin oil, but not as thin as WD-40. The thing about WD-40, it'll just evaporate over time. And I don't know if it would cause wear. It's something that's not moving a lot, so I don't think I have to worry about that so much. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit of WD-40 on those 2 points and see what happens. And I'll put it back together and then just wait for the weather change. There's a way you can test these, and I'll show that here in a minute. A pretty cool way of testing a barometer. So, but right now I'm just gonna put a couple drops of WD-40 on these zerts. It'll penetrate in. That's one good thing about it. And but I'm gonna have to be real careful. I don't want to get too much on there. Just very small amount. I hate using this here. It's good stuff for a lot of things, but yeah, I think like sewing machine oil would be the best bet, and I'll have to get me some. But I'm gonna have to be real careful with this. Put my glasses on so I can see better, because I'm just gonna try to get a little drop on the end of this thing. Okay, so what it is there's this little lever here. It's almost like a weight in a way. It works kind of like a weight, and you can see if I push on it, it moves. I think it was just bound up. I can see there's two little tiny pinholes. So it's just a brass post with a pin going through on each side, so it pivots. And so there's a little tiny pinhole in each of these posts, and that looks to me like it's for oiling it. So like I said, I didn't really want to use this WD-40, but I just put a little tiny bit on there, and I can come back and clean it off with probably some rubbing alcohol, get the WD-40 out, and then put some better quality sewing machine type oil, machine oil. But you can see this makes it move now. So now it's just a matter of putting it back together and waiting for the weather to change and see how much it moves. And I'll find out if that was the problem. I think it probably was. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put it back together. And I got WD-40 on my teak. And I've done that before. So my teak's oiled now. One little spot. It'll go away over time. It ain't the first time I've done this. Okay, now I'm just going to put it back together. And see if I can get this thing back together. It looks like it's going to be a little tricky. So I got to be real careful with this needle. There it goes. Guess I could have tried to clean this faceplate a little bit. You really want to be careful if you're trying to clean one of these faceplates. The previous owner, he said his daughter cleaned the faceplate on the clock, and when I bought it, it didn't look too good. She made a clean spot and it didn't match the rest of the faceplate. But over time it fixed itself. It just kind of got patina back on it, and it looks okay. So this here is this retaining ring. It looks like it could be cleaned. Okay, so I got this retaining ring back in. This is not a real expensive barometer. If it was, it would be solid brass. I did order a used clock and barometer, and it's a Howard Miller clock and barometer, and it's solid brass, so it's vintage, and it should be here in a few days. And I'm hoping it's the description in eBay and the photographs are two different things. So, and it was very inexpensive, so I'm hoping it's the photograph, because if it's the photograph, I'll be getting what I want. I'm not sure, but I'll find out probably on Wednesday. So now I cleaned this thing off and it still looks icky. It didn't clean very well. That train drives me nuts. It only bothers me when I'm filming. Other than that, I'm kind of used to it. But so I'm going to go ahead and just put this back together now. And then I'm going to show you how a really cool way to test a barometer. Easy way. So I'm just going to screw this back on. So this is all back together. And I'm going to set the needle as the marker over the actual barometer needle, so I can see how much it changes over time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this in a Ziploc bag. Okay, so it's inside a Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna close one side of it a little bit and close the other side a little bit and leave an opening in the middle. And then push it apart like this, and I'm going to fill it up with air. Okay. My breath's a little steamy. So now I got air in this. So this is the way you can test a barometer. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this now because my breath has steamed it up. Okay, so what you do is you put air in it, seal the bag up with the barometer inside, then you press on the bag, and you look to see if the needle moves, and it's actually moving. So you know it's working. So at any rate, I took it apart and just oiled it lightly, but I only used WD-40, which it's not a good idea. Actually, you want to use machine oil, so it'd be like sewing machine oil. I'm going to go ahead and put it back up and wait for the weather to change. Unfortunately, the weather is supposed to be the same for the next week or two, so it'll be a while before I find out if I actually did any good from cleaning it and oiling it. So we'll see. So if you found this video to be helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe.